rushed off stage after a series of gunshots were fired at his campaign rally in Pennysylvania. Now, as gunshots were heard, he grimaced and clutched a hand to his right ear where blood was clearly visible across his cheek and mouth. Now, the suspected shooter was confirmed dead along with one bystander. These are the latest inputs that we are tracking at this point of time this morning. Let's take a look at what actually unfolded in that rally.
I've been thoroughly briefed by all the agencies in the federal government as to the situation, based on what we know now. I have tried to get a hold of Donald. He's with his doctors. Apparently he's doing well. I plan on talking to them shortly, I hope, when I get back to the telephone. Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. And I want to thank the Secret Service and all the agencies, including the state agencies, that have been engaged in making sure that the people and we have more detail to come relative to other people maybe injured in the audience. I don't have all that detail. We'll make that available to you. I may be able to come back a little later tonight, but we'll put out a statement if I'm not able to if it's not convenient for you all. But the bottom line is that the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully and without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. And everybody must condemn it.
Well, joining us on the broadcast is our colleague Siddhant Mishra. Very good morning, Siddhant. Former US President and Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump got injured during his election rally in Butler. Can you confirm the extent of Trump's injuries and the current status of his condition?
Well, yes. So right now we have been told that this firing incident has taken place at a campaign rally of President Trump in Pennsylvania. Going by the statement that has been released by Secret Service, it says suspected shooter fired multiple shots towards the state from an elevated platform outside the rally arena. Secret Service sniper immediately neutralized the shooter. One spectator got killed, 2 others are injured. In fact, there is also a statement that has been released by Donald Trump's office on his social media platform, in which Trump says, and I quote, "I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. Much bleeding took place," unquote. This is perhaps very rare that during the run-up to the presidential election in the United States, any candidate is facing an assassination attempt. Perhaps this requires thorough investigation. And in fact, Secret Service has also notified FBI. They have mentioned that in their statement as well. Nobody knows the background of the shooter yet, as shooter was immediately neutralized by the Secret Service sniper. But a thorough investigation is going to take place in this matter. In fact, President Biden has also condemned this act of violence. In fact, all major political players in United States are condemning this act of violence, because this is very rare that assassination attempt has taken place on a Republican candidate running for the post of president. In fact, that video of the moment when the bullet shots were fired at President Trump has gone viral. In fact, that particular video has gone viral. And in fact, if I read what President Trump says in his statement, he says that, and I quote, "I want to thank the United States Secret Service and all of law enforcement for their rapid response on the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most important, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of other person that was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country. Nothing is known at this time about the shooter, who is now dead." I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. God bless America, unquote. So this is what Donald Trump has said on the social media post that his team has posted. The shooting occurred shortly after Trump started speaking on stage. He
Right.
had blood on the side of his head and pumped his fist as U.S. Secret Service agent took him to the nearby vehicle. Immediately
Right.
after this firing was realized by the Secret Service, he was taken off stage. Secret Service also confirmed that he's safe and his campaign said he's fine. So that's the update that we have. Right now, President Biden has called this act sick and condemned the political violence. Back to you.
Right, Siddhant. We've been tracking all the visuals that have been coming from the ground, but the reality of the matter remains that, like you also pointed out, that the shooter's identity is not yet revealed, and the bystander who was killed. But how has the investigation taken place, and are there any preliminary findings so far?
Well, look, it's really very early to sort of come to any conclusion, to jump
Right.
to any conclusion, especially when there was an high-profile attempt to assassinate the president nominee of the Republican Party. Now, since I did mention that Secret Service has already notified the Federal Bureau of Investigation, there's going to be the thorough probe in this entire matter. The statements of all those present on the spot at the campaign event, their statements are going to get recorded. The cops are also going to go through the CCTV footage to check the movement of the shooter. That is also going to be the prime focus of the investigators. Then, there's also going to be a proper analysis of the potential threat that President Trump has or carries. Through that, there would be some lead that investigators could get. So there's a lot that investigators, there's a lot of work that investigators have to do as far as this particular assassination attempt is concerned. Because look, this is not just a political, a violence taking place in America. Obviously, it is a political violence taking place, but it has drawn attention of the entire world.
Right, indeed.
Since last few hours, we have received condemnation coming from Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Australia Anthony Albanese, all the world leaders, part of all world leaders, those who are in alliance with the United States, the countries, the allies and partners of the United States, they are also reacting to this this particular incident. So it's a very everyone is condemning and everyone
Right.
has been taken by shock after this particular video of President Trump being fired upon, and his statement, Secret Service statement, has taken everybody by shock, and it's very rare to happen in American politics because usually Secret Service has a very high level of security set up, especially for candidates like Trump or President Biden. It's the A-grade level of security setup that they do. There is proper frisking, there is proper inspection ahead of the campaign
Right.
and the rallies that these VIPs go. So it would really be interesting to see what comes out in the investigation. But at this point in time, we have very less on that. All
Indeed.
we know is that President Trump is safe. He was immediately taken off the stage by the Secret Service. FBI has been notified. President Biden has condemned the act. Other world leaders are also condemning the act. Till now, we don't know the identity of the shooter. One spectator got killed, the other two are injured, and right now, maybe by late in the evening, we could expect some to be released by Secret Service, or maybe some identity that Secret Service could tell the media of the shooter, the background of the shooter. But right now, we don't have any clue on that. Back to you.
Right, Siddhant, we get to understand the situation, and this incident unfolded at a very crucial time, especially during Trump's political campaign. Now, do we see any change in his itinerary for the upcoming campaigns ahead of the US presidential elections, or any change in his plans for moving ahead with political campaigns?
Well, right now, we are yet to hear from President Trump's campaign manager, because there has not been any news of his rallies getting cancelled, his campaign getting cancelled, event getting cancelled, or neither any cancellation information that we have, nor we have any confirmation on his next campaign event. And you know, this is a very critical time, and in fact, I'm sure that President Trump's campaign team is going to sit down with the Secret Service, and you know, they are going to chalk out the new plan and new strategy to perhaps make sure that President Trump, such assassination attempt don't take place in future, and also to make sure that, you know, there's a design of the stage and other aspects which are approved by the Secret Service at the campaign event. So, you know, more focus would be on to sort of keep President Trump safe when he is on stage. So we could see, you know, more Secret Service agents rallying behind President Trump during his campaign events. We could also see more frisking and, you know, inspection ahead of the campaign event. So more precautions would be taken by the Secret Service now as far as President Trump's campaign is concerned, because this has got a bad name for United States of America as well. That that a Republican candidate has to go through such act of violence. So that is perhaps a blot on America's reputation as well. So I'm sure Secret Service is going to take it very, very seriously here onwards, and very soon they'll come up, FBI will come up with an investigation report also, and perhaps we'll get to know the background of the shooter and the reason why he opened fire at President Trump, at former President Trump.
Right, Siddhant, I'll request you to stay with us on the broadcast, as this is clearly a very concerning incident that's come to fore this morning, where Donald Trump was shot and taken to a medical facility as a precaution. But let's hear out what the eyewitnesses on the ground actually saw and unfolded.
Horrifying. I mean, the shot, I mean, and the stuff was coming off the side. For people to do that, I don't know. It's just, it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. It's just going to drive people to even be more for him. I mean, especially when that picture comes out.
I'm very upset. I can't say for sure who's behind this, but I'll tell you what. It's only going to cause more division in this country because of the people that support President Trump. And it's only going to make people hate Joe Biden even more, whether he had anything to do with it or not, and whether the Democratic Party had anything to do with it or not. It seems that they'll do anything to remain in power. And I'll tell you what, it's only going to cause more division in this country. And there's enough already. You're going to see more.
I feel like the nomination is coming up on Monday, and I feel like they don't want him. They don't want this man to be president because he's trying his hardest to save America, and that's not what they want. They want America to fall.
They're scared.
Yeah, they're scared. You're right. Yeah. They're scared.
Siddhant continues to stay with us on the broadcast. Siddhant, we just heard the eyewitnesses suggesting that they are upset, they are scared. But how has Trump's supporters and opponents actually responded to the news on various social media platforms or digital platforms?
Well, absolutely. You know, Trump's supporters are saying that you know, this will divide the country further, because many people don't want President Trump to win the elections. So to contain him, to sort of threaten him, such conspiracy has been done, and this is what Trump supporters are suggesting. Now, if we go back and see, So the first attempt to assassinate a president or presidential candidate since Ronald Reagan was shot in 1981, the famous assassination. This is the first time that something of this sort has happened in American politics. Now, the shooter wasn't an attendee at the rally. This is what we can confirm from for our viewers. Secret Service has shot down the shooter. Usually, as per the protocols, the heavily armed tactical team travels everywhere with the president and major party nominee, and that was the case with Trump as well. The Secret Service took 2 minutes to take Trump out of the rally venue to waiting card. Donald Trump. Even in fact, U.S. President Joe Biden was briefed about the shooting. President Obama has also condemned it. There's a statement that we have received from the Secret Service. The FBI and other intelligence agencies were at the spot immediately to investigate the shooting. In fact, as a precautionary measure, this I want to tell our viewers, the Biden campaign was pausing all messaging to supporters and working to pull down all the television ad as quickly as possible. So that was a step that was taken. So this gun violence, gun culture is quite common in United States. In fact, after every few days, we also report on our channel. And in 1963, U.S. President John F. Kennedy was shot dead. Several poll candidates were also shot dead during campaign, including Robert Kennedy in California in 1968. In 1972, George Wallace, who was running as an independent, was shot on a campaign platform. So, the gun culture is quite common. In fact, the political violence in US used to be very common, in 60s, 70s, and early 90s. But as I said, that since the assassination of Ronald Reagan, this is in 1981. This is perhaps for the first time that that a presidential candidate, the attempt has been made to assassinate a presidential candidate. Perhaps this makes this particular case very, very serious. And look, that the gravity of this case is so much that not just President Biden has condemned it, Barack Obama has also condemned it. Secretary Blinken has condemned this act of violence. In fact, the world leaders, Justin Trudeau, Anthony Albanese, Prime Minister of Australia, all are condemning this act of violence on American soil. So perhaps it's also a blot on America's reputation, so as to that they cannot protect their presidential candidate. So there would be a thorough investigation, high-level investigation. In fact, FBI teams, intelligence, and the various other departments are already on spot. The statements of the spectators, those who were around President Trump, are going to get recorded. In fact, interesting part is that this person was not the part of President Trump's campaign campaign event. This person, the shooter, fired at President Trump from an elevated platform outside the venue. This is what the reports are telling us. So who is this shooter? What is his background? Why has he done so? Who has provided him with the arms and ammunition? Are we looking at a possibility of a larger conspiracy? That can also not be ruled out at this point in time. The government of United States have to come clean on it, because since election season is on and this has taken place 4 months ahead of the crucial presidential election. So in that case, FBI, government of America, all have to come clean and perhaps come up with an investigation report with facts and statements and a thorough investigation which could perhaps satisfy Trump supporters, especially because they are calling it a conspiracy. They are calling it an attempt to stop Trump so that he cannot become the president again. They are calling it. They have called for a thorough investigation in the matter. So they are upset. They are upset. They are terrified with what has happened. So Trump supporters at this point in time wants thorough investigation in this matter. Back to you.
Right, Siddhant, like you rightly put forward, let's take a look at what the CNN report has to say on this entire incident.
And how they plan to talk about it, use it or not.
What I hope I'm speaking on behalf of many people, what I desperately hope for is that we stop talking about vengeance in any form of any kind by anyone. Our language, this campaign has been, the language has been tough and extreme. And I think to move the country in a healthy direction, we have to keep talking about how political violence is unacceptable and that we have crossed a line. Some mad person crossed a line, and we want to go back. And so that's what I look for. When this has happened before in our history, that is the way we've responded as a people. We've talked about how this was wrong. We are better than this. We have asked ourselves, is there a sickness? This is how we deal with these issues time and again. And I expect it to be the same this time. It's really important that President Trump fully recover, and that both conventions provide an opportunity for healing. Of course, they're going to push for their own candidate, because that's the way we are. We're competitive people, and that's how a democracy should work. But there should be an element at both conventions, a reminder that our country sometimes takes the wrong turn, and we have a history of violence, and we don't want to see it again.
Pennsylvania Congressman Daniel Muser is back with us. He, as I said before, he was in the front row at the rally today. Congressman, I appreciate you joining us. I'm sorry it's under these circumstances. Can you talk about what you saw, when you realized things were going, what had happened?
Yeah. Thanks, Anderson. Yeah, it started out like a regular rally. President Trump came in, took pictures, and spent a little bit of time. He came out. He was speaking no longer than 6 or 7 minutes, and next thing you know, there was rapid fire. It was pretty obvious after the second or third gunshot what was happening. Particularly, I turned around to see where it was coming from, and then my eyes fixated on the president, saw him grab his ear and then hit the deck, grab the side of his head. I wasn't sure if it was his ear at the time, and then the Secret Service came in, did their thing. Our Pennsylvania State Police were all over the scene. Pandemonium broke out. People were crying. They were worried about the president. They weren't sure if the shooter was still firing because there were a couple of added shots when the Secret Service was up there. So it was quite a scene.
Were you aware that, we know one person in the crowd was killed, 2 others were?
I've been thoroughly briefed by all the agencies in the federal government as to the situation, based on what we know now. I have tried to get a hold of Donald. He's with his doctors. Apparently he's doing well. I plan on talking to them shortly, I hope, when I get back to the telephone. Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. And I want to thank the Secret Service and all the agencies, including the state agencies, that have been engaged in making sure that the people and we have more detail to come relative to other people maybe injured in the audience. I don't have all that detail. We'll make that available to you. I may be able to come back a little later tonight, but we'll put out a statement if I'm not able to if it's not convenient for you all. But the bottom line is that the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. And everybody must condemn it.
Well, cutting across to Siddhant Mishra, who continues to stay with us on the broadcast. Siddhant, like we were already discussing, that the shooter wasn't a Trump supporter and he was actually not a part of the entire rally in Pennysylvania. But were there any prior security concerns on threats made against Trump on his campaign?
Well, look, there is one video which is perhaps going viral, where one of the Trump supporters is telling the media, reporting from Pennsylvania, that he informed police, Secret Service, about a suspicious man on a roof with a rifle which was ignored by the Secret Service. So this is what this spectator, this Trump supporter, is perhaps telling to BBC. And in fact, this particular video clip has gone viral, perhaps raising more concerns that when the complaint was lodged by Trump supporter regarding this shooter on a rooftop with a rifle, why didn't Secret Service act immediately? Why there was no why nobody paid attention to this information which was flagged by one of the Trump supporters? So it is perhaps raising a lot of doubts and concerns as far as Trump supporters are concerned, and they are demanding thorough investigation in this matter, because they are looking at this particular shooting incident through a prism of conspiracy, through a prism of an attempt to stop Donald Trump. And that is perhaps going to make the job of FBI and Secret Service difficult, because they have to come clean and they have to conclude the investigation also as soon as possible, because we are just 4 months ahead of the polls in the United States. So it's now on to the government of America to come clean on this assassination attempt that has been made on President Trump. Back to you.
Right, Siddhant. Help us understand, since we are already talking about the incident that has unfolded in this Trump rally. Trump rally shooting is now being investigated as an attempt of assassination. But take us through, how did the Secret Service agent respond so quickly to neutralize the threat? And how will this entire incident be affecting the security protocols moving forward?
Well, look, President Trump is always in the cover of Secret Service, and it's perhaps the finest team of people, those who are responsible to protect President of United States, the opposition candidate, and the other nominees as and when required. So former President Trump is also a Secret Service protectee. Usually the teams travel with him with the heavily armed tactical teams everywhere with former President Trump. So definitely there is a lapse because of which this incident has taken place, and the time it was realized by the sniper of Secret Service team. Immediately the shooter was shot down, and President Trump was taken off the stage. He was rushed off the stage. He was taken to his car. In fact, that video footage is also getting viral now, there was a blood coming out of his ears, and he was taken off the stage by the Secret Service agents. So there were adequate Secret Service agents present at the venue, and there was all protocols were followed at the Trump rally. But definitely there is a lapse, because of which this man who was standing with a rifle on a rooftop, as Trump supporters are claiming, but nobody paid attention to him. Nobody tried to interfere or engage with him, because of which this incident happened. So there was lapse from the part of Secret Service, and perhaps that is definitely going to get investigated. And as I said before, since political season is going on, it's the government of America, FBI, all have to come up with an investigate with a report which could satisfy Trump supporters, or perhaps which could tell the reason that why this was done, because it has become a political topic. It has become a political issue now, and it would also be interesting to see that how President Biden is going to handle this issue, because there is a sympathy wave for President Trump now, former President Trump. Back to you.
Right, Siddhant, thank you so much for bringing in all those details. Well, we'll continue to track the story as the day progresses, but this is a shocking update that we've been tracking from the United States of an apparent assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump at a rally in Pennsylvania. Now, the incident has left one spectator dead, 2 critically injured, and a nation in stunned disbelief. We'll continue to follow this developing story and bring you all the latest updates with more information become available to us. Until then, stay tuned and stay safe. Thanks for watching.